a tale of wonder, kindness, and the courage to follow your dreams. Once upon a time, in a quiet little garden tucked away from the world, lived a kind old woman who found her greatest joy among the flowers. She spoke to them, sang to them, and treated each petal as a precious friend. One peaceful afternoon, a mysterious fairy appeared, glowing like morning sunlight. She handed the woman a strange-looking seed and whispered, "Plant it with your heart and something magical will bloom." Without hesitation, the old woman planted the seed in a tiny clay pot. Each day she watered it with care, singing soft lullabies as if the soil could listen. And then, just a few days later, something truly extraordinary happened. From the earth sprouted the most beautiful flowers she had ever seen. Its petals were as soft as silk and carried a scent so sweet it filled the whole garden. And there, nestled in the heart of the bloom, was a tiny girl. She was no taller than a thumb, with golden hair that shimmered like sunshine and eyes as blue as forget-me-nots. Overcome with wonder, the old woman smiled through her tears and whispered a name, Thumbelina. From that day on, Thumbelina lived inside the flower. She danced among petals, made friends with insects, and curled up to sleep on beds made of rose petals. Her world was small but filled with warmth, magic, and love. But would that gentle life last forever? As Thumbelina slept one night, nestled in her blossom bed, soft whispers drifted through the moonlit garden. A group of field mice had found the flower and gasped in awe at the tiny girl sleeping inside. Touched by her delicate beauty, the mice gently brought her to their cozy underground home. Thumbelina, ever curious and kind, agreed to go, and so her next chapter began. The mice gave her a little bed with a soft leaf for a blanket. They shared crumbs and told us stories by candlelight. In time, she became a cherished part of their family. But then came winter. The world outside turned cold and silent. Still, Thumbelina never complained. She wore a tulip petal as a warm coat and helped the mice with chores, sweeping, gathering crumbs, and spreading warmth wherever she went. One day, while collecting food, she heard a faint, sorrowful sound coming from the snow-covered ground. It was a small bird, shivering, injured, and nearly frozen. With a heart full of compassion, Thumbelina gently scooped up the bird and brought it home. She fed it, wrapped it in warmth, and stayed by its side day after day. Slowly, the bird regained its strength, and a beautiful friendship blossomed, like sunlight breaking through the coldest storm. Would this friendship last forever? As spring crept in, Thumbelina and the bird grew closer. They told stories, shared dreams, and spoke often of the skies and faraway lands. The bird dreamed of flying again. Thumbelina dreamed of seeing the world beyond the mouse hole. When spring finally arrived, bringing warmth and blooming flowers, the bird's wings were ready. It was time to fly. Their goodbye was tender. Thumbelina stood silently as her friend took flight, vanishing into the sky like a whisper of wind. Though she missed him deeply, hope blossomed in her heart. The world was waiting. Each night, She sat by the tiny window, gazing up at the moon and wondering what adventures lie beyond this little world of mine. Then one magical night, under the silver light of the moon, a gentle melody drifted through the air. Frogs were singing nearby, music unlike anything she had ever heard. Curious and enchanted, Thumbelina followed the sound. The frogs welcomed her joyfully and invited her to dance. Beneath the stars, she twirled and laughed, her heart full of happiness. Soon they brought her to meet their king, a gentle, wide-eyed frog who wore a crown made of lily pads and a robe of moss. Struck by her grace, he asked for her hand in marriage. But Thumbelina's heart didn't belong to lily ponds or underwater palaces. It longed for the open sky, for wildflowers, for freedom. Then, on the eve of the wedding, she heard a familiar sound, chirping just outside her window. Her bird friend had returned. In that moment, Thumbelina knew she could not stay. She and the bird made a quiet plan. When the frogs were asleep and the marsh lay silent, she climbed onto his back. With one strong flap of his wings, they soared into the sky. Up into the stars they flew, leaving the frog kingdom far behind. Below them, the world unfolded. Endless forests, sparkling rivers, and golden meadows. The wind danced through her hair, and Thumbelina laughed with joy. At last, they arrived in a magical garden, glowing with flowers and sunlight. And there, she met him, a prince, no taller than herself, enchanted by a fairy just as she had been. When their eyes met, something magical happened. No words were needed. They had found true love. A beautiful wedding followed in the heart of the garden. Birds sang, flower petals danced, and the wind whispered happiness through the leaves. Thumbelina and the prince made the garden their forever home, filled with dreams, laughter, and love. And so, dear child, the story of Thumbelina comes to an end. A tale of magic, of friendship, of courage to follow your heart, no matter how small you are. Now, close your eyes, drift into slumber, and let your dreams carry you to magical places, just like Thumbelina's. The end.